Hey guys, it's Alex here in Southern California. I've been a couple months. I ended up moving back in July, settled into a new place. Um, yeah, you can kind of see the new setup. I'm right in the sweet spot here. You can see some of the artwork. I got John Coltrane portrait with Alice right in the middle. So yeah, feels good. Just figured I'd share a few things I've been spinning lately. Hopefully there's not too much reflection. First one is Floating Points. Leader is Sam Shepard out of the UK. I think a lot of folks in the BC are onto how good his last album was, Elena, I believe it was called, which was sort of a mix of electronics and I guess modern jazz. This one just came out this year. So this was actually recorded in the Mojave Desert, probably not too far from here where I live. They set up all the equipment out in the desert, and I think the idea was that they got some interesting acoustics, from some of the rock formations out there. Musically, it's pretty cool. He plays a lot of synths, and it's kind of a post-rock record, fusion post-rock. Maybe reminds you a little bit of Tortoise at times, but really top notch. Highly recommended. It's almost an EP. I think it's fairly short. I don't know what the running length is, but this guy's definitely worth checking out. Next one is Azimuth. This is a Brazilian record from 1975. Originals are near impossible to find. I found out about this record from an online interview with Sam Shepard of Floating Points, and he mentioned that this is a record that he often spun in DJ sets back at his where he was a resident DJ in the UK. It's a really good, great percussion on this. It's a fusion samba Brazilian record, 1975. Reissue is fairly inexpensive, so definitely check it out. I was able to get an original U.S. pressing of what probably is my favorite Can record, Future Days. See that on the United Artists label. Just came out a year after it was originally released in Germany on United Artists. Really happy to have close to an original of that album. So I finally got around to this record, which I know many of you already have and cherish. I listened to it online a few times before, but I finally jumped on an original here from 1988 on EMI. Don't need to say much. Sounds incredible. Amazing record. Here's another favorite of mine that I recently got an original of. Harold Groskopf with a synthesizer. I believe this is from, I'm going to say 1979 or 80. If you don't know this one, it's fantastic. There was a reissue maybe about 3 or 4 years ago that came out that sounds really good. This one is on the German Sky label. But yeah, I mean, this is about as good as synth electronic music gets, in my book. I saw this at a local record show. It's an artist that I never had anything of hers. Definitely worth buying for the cover alone, obviously, but which apparently was designed by I think Giorgio Armani, I think, fashion designer. It was a really good listen. I didn't expect it to be as dubby as it was, but especially the first side is really excellent. So I'm really glad I picked that up for $8 or something. So this is an interesting one. It's a hip hop artist out of Berkeley, California. Goes by Little B. Can't remember his real name offhand. The title is Rain in England. I actually found out about this because the producer, who goes by Bass God, apparently he's a big Golden State Warriors NBA fan, and he was quite vocal over the last couple of years with Golden State Warriors, and kind of got into some controversies and such. And upon researching him, I kind of found my way to this album, which is very, very interesting. It's non-traditional hip-hop. It's fairly experimental. It's very spoken word delivery, basically just ruminations about life with a backing of what I can only describe as new age synth music. Definitely check this out if you like experimental hip-hop and new age synthesizer music. It's very good. It really creates a very interesting tone for the entire set. I finally got around to picking a copy of this reissue, Sun Ra Liquidity, 1978, originally on Philly Jazz. Another one where originals are near impossible to find at a reasonable price. This one actually sounds really good, this reissue. It's not the 180 gram, it's the regular weight. Sounds excellent, and yeah, this is definitely among the top 2 or 3 Sun Ra records for me. It's got a groove throughout, it's got rhythm, but at the same time it's got the quirkiness and spaciness that Sun Ra is so well known for. A bit of definitely a grail for me. Rashid Ali Quintet, on original press on Survival Records, 1973. One of only about 10 records that were ever released in Rashid Ali's own Survival record label out of New York. This one's interesting in particular because it has James Blood Ulmer in what I believe is his first known recording. James Blood Ulmer, one of my favorite jazz guitarists, right up there with Sonny Sharrock. So it is a really tight set. The only thing that's interesting about this is, and maybe a little bit distracting, is the way that they recorded this album. The bass below a certain frequency is actually really, really distorted. So both the bass and on some of the drumming, you hear it very distinctively. Even if you stream it online, it'll be very obvious. So it can be a little bit distracting on first listen, but the music is absolutely it's a fantastic set, and James Blood is on fire. So I finally sprung for an original pressing of this fantastic record that I'm sure a lot of you guys already have. I know it's been talked about very recently and often, as it should. Kind of a very appropriate record for these times for many reasons. But yeah, very glad to have this. I did a quick comparison between the original and the reissue. I believe this was on a subsidiary of Light in the Attic. So a really nice pressing. At least upon first impression, I think actually this one sounds better than the original. But yeah, I might do some more comparisons. Not because I would get rid of either one really, but just find it interesting. Picked this one up in our record show a couple weeks ago. The Residents commercial record from 1980, original pressing on Ralph Records. This one has like 40 tracks, 20 on each side approximately. And they're both, I haven't listened to it, but from what I understand, they're just like minute, I think they're all 1 minute long, little nuggets. So, love the Residents. I'm sure I will not be disappointed. I'll show one more here. George Duke, Faces in Reflection, is the original pressing on MPS. There's actually a Dutch copy, promo apparently. I would say the first couple tracks are really good. For my tastes, some of the other tracks are not quite my favorite, but definitely, I mean, the playing is definitely top notch, no question about it. I think some of the vocals are not my favorite, but yeah, definitely a very tight session. Some great percussion on this one. I'm sure it's been sampled quite a bit. And obviously, with that cover art, I mean, for $10, there was no chance I was going to leave this behind. I'd be curious to check out some more George Duke. I know he's a big name in the VC. I think that's about it. Please leave some comments, and we'll see you guys soon.